Welcome to America's Day at the Races. Friday action from South Ozone Park, New York. 14 minutes to post in race 5. Start of the late pick 4. We also have live coverage from Hot Springs, Arkansas, Oaklawn Park. They are 4 minutes to post in race 4. Fast main track in Hot Springs. Muddy conditions here in New York. Greg Wolf alongside New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Big weekend coming up on the Triple Crown Trail, both here in New York and in Hot Springs.
Yeah, absolutely. Things are heating up. Also, you could say Gulfstream Park with the Fountain of Youth. And listen, we are now at the point where we are just about 9 weeks away from the Kentucky Derby. So things are getting much, much more serious. And the horses that are, they're going to have to step up and show they belong in the Derby. There's some obvious contenders in the Rebel, perhaps in the Gotham, down in Florida as well. So we'll see.
All right, we will preview, of course, all those races coming up. Let's show you what's ahead. Presented by Claiborne Farm. As mentioned, muddy here in New York. Races 5 and 6 for this hour of coverage. We'll kick off the late pick 4 momentarily, and in Hot Springs, we'll bring races 4 and 5. That fourth race kicks off the Classics pick 6 on their fast main track. You can play all the action right there at Naira Bets. Get signed up, started, bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And new customers, the offer, there it is, that $200 deposit match new customer bonus just by punching in that code at sign up match 200. And you are ready to rock at nairabets.com. Race 4, Oaklawn, 6 furlongs, 20,000 non-winners to 2 lifetime claiming race coming up. But of course, a huge weekend with some older horses. Magnitude back in action over the weekend, and the Rebel on Sunday on the road to that first Saturday in May as we send it out to Mig and Megan.
Yeah, thanks, Greg. And a beautiful day here. Actually, kind of warm. We're close to about 80 degrees here today. But, Megan, you actually had eyes on Magnitude's schooling in the paddock, and you were saying he kind of getting a little amped up.
He's always been pretty coiled up from what I've seen from him so far. Just on track, his rider I felt kind of bad for him. His arms were probably sore after just galloping over the track. But this morning, or I should say this afternoon, there's a specific time about 11 a.m. where they were schooling. He was coiled up, you could say, with both Darren Fleming, the assistant to trainer Steve Asmussen, and Steve both on his head. He wasn't over the top, but boy, does he look like he's ready to run off of the layoff. I'm incredibly excited to see what he does tomorrow, and if this is ultimately, if the Dubai World Cup is what greets him next, I believe just 26 days away.
Yeah, kind of maybe a quick turnaround for his first start back, but no doubt. But we've got a really good field in that Razorback, and a horse that's kind of maybe getting ready to throw his hat in the ring in that Razorback is the horse just inside of Magnitude of Jimmy DeVito's. You got his name at the top of your head?
New, yes.
New What's
He's
New.
the
There
new
you
face.
go.
That's how I remember him.
And then, listen, obviously the Razorback, big race, but then Sunday, the $1 Million Rebel, $750,000 Honeybee, the Pig Trail, as well as a ratings handicap, which is something new they've rolled out here at Oaklawn Park. But we got about a minute to post here for race 4. Megan, and a real competitive group of $20,000 claimers. Which direction did you go?
There was I believe 4 horses coming out of that same 12,000 non-winners of 2 last time out, including the number 4, 40 Love, who I went with in this spot. I just thought that he didn't really get into his forward position as I feel like, is best at. He was kind of bumped around when a horse to his, I believe, outside or inside had stumbled pretty badly, and then he was shuffled off the pace, especially at 5.5 furlongs here at Oaklawn Park that day. It was just it's a tough trip to manage, and he managed to, in my opinion, run much better than the other 3 to come back out of this group. You're getting 7-2 on him right now. He's got consistent figures, and he's ultra consistent here at Oaklawn. If he can put it together again today, I'd anticipate he's a bit more forwardly placed.
Yeah, I'm right with you with 40 Love. And you can pick up Walter de la Cruz. Now, it was ridden by Christian Torres, who needs no introduction, one of the best riders here. But Walter de la Cruz is a rider that is consistently aggressive, and I do think he'll get more of that forward or better position, if you will. So that's kind of why I landed there. Christian's on a very live horse in the 3, but you also have the 2, Fire in My Soul, coming off of an allowance try at Delta Downs.
Delta there, the bull ring configuration coming off a 7 furlong effort against a really slow pace where he was up and forward and then he just completely tired. I liked him in this spot, but at the same time, I think that was just not exactly an effort I wanted to bet him back on per se on top. I think he's interesting underneath. But, I mean, he set 48-3 at the half and then just completely tired and faded off that really slow early pace. I think he'll be a forward tracker from there with Keith Asmussen aboard as he takes to Oaklawn Park, where he did no running the last time he was here.
Yeah, and when you talk, you allude to a bull ring, so people that might not know, it's a racetrack that's smaller than the average 1 mile size of a racetrack. You know, it's half mile or 5 furlongs. I believe Delta is 5 furlongs. So a 6 furlong race would actually be around 2 turns. Well, we're going to take a quick pause here as we can get to our network coverage here on America's Day at the Races.
Welcome to those just joining us on Fox Sports 2. You're watching America's Day at the Races and slightly delayed in coming aboard, but get to us in time before we load here for our first live action of the day, this 4th at Oaklawn. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, we're handling things here in New York. We're going to get it out to Hot Springs in a moment.
Yes, we will. Looking forward to just a short show, an hour today, but obviously coming upon a very big weekend of racing here at Oaklawn Park.
Gotham on the Triple Crown Trail on Saturday here in New York, and the Rebel on Sunday from Oaklawn. Let's go to Mig and Megan in Hot Springs.
And let's head right upstairs to Matt Dinneman for the call of race 4.
Post. Here's air raid. Goes it. We're ready to go. And Laroff. Good beginning for all. Sexagenarian showing his customary front-running speed. Fire in My Soul takes up coming out of the chute while trying to get out a little bit. Is now straightened up level second with War of Destiny, who moves forward on the inside. Trouble Ahead is deeper, joining that pair. Gap of 2 to Macphil. Air 8 to the outside, and 40 Love is the trailer. 6 off the lead, the pace setter. Sexagenarian goes quick but well within himself and opens up 2 as a clear lead approaching the turn. Trouble Ahead second. War of Destiny inside as they go into the far turn. They've streaked 5 lengths ahead of 40 Love, who's into the 4th position. Fire in My Soul has lost position, going in the wrong direction while under pressure. Macville still second to last. Air 8 has dropped out of it as they round the far turn. Sexagenarian says, come and catch me if you're good enough. Sexagenarian off the turn with a 3-length lead on Trouble Ahead in second. War of Destiny third. Sexagenarian, let's see what he's got for the final furlong, on top by 2 1/4. In second, Trouble Ahead gradually gaining some ground here. War of Destiny right behind him. Sexagenarian hitting the 16th pole. He's coming back now to Trouble Ahead on the outside, who surges past. Trouble Ahead off the maiden win, going to win right back against winners. Trouble Ahead gives Christian Torres a double. War of Destiny out finishing Sexagenarian for the second spot. 40 Love was 4th.
Trouble Ahead surging past War of Destiny down the stretch to get this victory, and the 5 here for that matter. Sexagenarian giving Christian Torres and Kevin Martin the win.
Taking a big step forward to break his maiden last time out, and he backed it up here, good trip or not. Backed up his good win last time out, and I'm going to say that this is a Grateful Dead horse. Casey Jones, Trouble Ahead, Trouble Behind. So I think all the Deadheads just got fat down at Oaklawn.
Well done. We joined you, or you joined us, I should say, right as they were about to break from the gate, so apologies to Richie Migliori. Megan Burgess didn't give you any time to get your thoughts in on this race, but Trouble Ahead looked impressive here down the stretch.
Well, Craig, no apologies necessary. That's for sure. Trouble Ahead made a lot of sense. It was a big step forward last time, and all of his races at Oaklawn Park have been good, Megan, and he's had a good trip under Christian Torres, who to me is riding as well as anybody right now at Oaklawn Park.
He is. It's always kind of interesting when you see a jockey hopping off of one and getting on another. He was also on 40 Love last time out. Switches over to the number 3 at Trouble Ahead, who he has some experience with. And I will say sometimes I'm a bit hesitant to beat these lower level maidens against winners for the first time. It took this horse a while, 7 tries to break that maiden here last time out, but he managed to get the job done. The number 5 Sexagenarian with Wayne Potts, who finished there late, always finds a way to get beat, setting the pace, and it seems like he did the exact same thing today.
Very high speed for Sexagenarian today with the blinkers on, really kind of almost ran through the bridle a little bit. But Trouble Ahead, good management by Kevin Martin, too. Horse broke his maiden for 30, ran back for 20. I always think when horses break their maiden for a maiden claiming price that have had chances, they're usually worth about half that. Not quite half, but almost there. Guys, kind of a formful start to our part of the show here at Oaklawn.
The better half of the show from Hot Springs.
Yeah.
Race 5 here in New York. $20,000 maiden claiming race, 6.5 furlongs. Just for those who are just tuning in right now, Andy, kind of set the stage from yesterday and what we've seen today and how this track is playing.
Yeah, I mean, anyone that was paying attention yesterday, watched the show, or just paying attention at home, it was very hard to close. We saw only one race where one horse made up ground. It's a little different today. We're seeing some horses make some runs. I don't think you want to be inside. I think you're okay, a couple path or two off the rail. But speed has been overall okay. So I think the track is not totally dissimilar to yesterday, but I don't think it's as extreme a bias, if that's fair.
Well, we have an odds-on favorite who we'll get to in a moment. That's Gualilo dropping in class. This horse, Alias, looks like the speed of the field, although the 4 might be able to apply some token pressure. Outfinished Gualilo, the odds-on favorite, when they met back in December.
Yeah, I mean, I will say in this race, I don't think Gualilo ran really much better, but he kind of hung a little bit. It was more his overall work and his last race where he had sort of a wild trip in his last race, and they thought he ran well. And the other problem with Alias is he rode a gold rail last time and still couldn't get it done to a horse who is in good form, to be fair, but that horse was against the track that day, and Alias had every chance to win it. And his form is a little suspect. And you're also talking about a horse that Linda Rice claimed, and he's been a short price every time he runs, and he just keeps failing. But this is a pretty wild price discrepancy right now between these two.
Yeah, here's the one who Alias had finished ahead of, and this is the odds-on, well, was the odds-on favorite who just left our screen, the 7, Gualilo. Big drop in class and 2 pretty strong figures against better company the last 2 starts.
Right, and even though he has lost to Alias, he has never run this cheaply. While Alias has run this cheaply, and I think that's the attraction. I prefer Gualilo, but at 2-1 versus 1-2, and I think you're going to see it more end up being even money 7-5 or something in that vein. I still prefer Gualilo, but right now I think the price discrepancy is too big.
Here's our post-parade. We'll start with Admiral Indy, who's had 2 starts and shown very little.
Right, he's 29-1, and frankly on paper he looks like he'll be going up from there.
Senor Pancho has Ruben Silvera.
He is the 3rd likeliest winner, like his odds suggest, and he has kept some good company, but he's going to have to get faster.
Here's one with a little pace. Can this horse pressure the 5?
He's got 1 race 3 back that would actually make him a player in this race. His last 2 are a disaster, but as you say, you got to have a feeling that they have to try to be aggressive.
Here is Alias. We know what he wants to do. He wants to be in front.
If they're not aggressive, then Alias could be controlling this race and maybe not stop.
Isola Doro has had 2 tries, distant 3rd and even more distant 6th.
It's a barn I'm always looking to make a case for. I couldn't find one here.
And 2-time reigning Eclipse Award-winning rider Flavian Pratt for the Rick Dutrow Jr. barn on the heavy favorite here outside.
In one of his races, he showed some pretty significant speed, and Flavian Pratt, an aggressive rider, has been aware of the racetrack, so I don't think that Gualilo is going to let the 5 get out of his sights.
Does he have the speed, though, to do it?
He's not fast enough, but I think we saw a little bit yesterday, you know, the way the riders were riding. We saw Pratt in the last race, right? He was on a horse that wasn't as fast as Linda Rice's horse, but he was so aggressive that he made it so his horse got in the race. So I don't think you're going to see him having an easy time to be on the 5, and maybe you could say that he'll try to play the 5's game and the 5 is more comfortable up front. I just don't see Flavian not being aggressive coming out of the gate.
Well, there is Pratt on the 3-5 favorite, so gets the outside post and is by far the lowest level this horse has ever run at yet. The warm-up, he looks tremendous.
You know, Rick Dutrow, it's funny, since Rick came back, he had kind of a bit of a cold streak, but in the last, I would say, at least 6 to 8 months, his horses have really been running well, and I don't think there was ever a real question of whether or not Rick was a talented trainer, and I'm not going to get into the politics of his suspension. Personally, I'm glad he's back. He deserved another chance, I think, you know, but I think there's never been an argument that Rick wasn't a good trainer.
A Whitney and a Breeders' Cup Classic win a few years ago with a horse that got moved to his barn very fortuitously.
And he's also got a horse of the year going back to St. Liam, who is in I think one of the most exciting Whitneys of all time when Commentator held him off in that incredible stretch run, and St. Liam obviously.
And a Kentucky Derby too. I believe still the only horse ever to win from post 20.
Post 20, yeah, Big Brown. He also, not only did he win from post 20 in the Derby, he did an even tougher thing. He won the Florida Derby from post 12.
Yeah.
I mean, that I think is a much bigger achievement than winning for post 20 in the Derby. And Big Brown on his game, he was just so much better than the horses in that crop, honestly, on the dirt. And he was a good turf horse too.
See if Gualilo here on the big drop in class at 3-5 can get it done. Certainly made a striking appearance on the racetrack. Looks like he's ready to run his race.
I mean, here's the question for you, Greg, and I don't have an answer to it. Do we feel like they're kind of dumping him a little bit, running him for 20? Because he's very likely to get claimed here. I mean, his races make him worth more than 20,000. I'm not saying he's worth 50 or so, but 20? He's got to be claimed. Can't imagine Linda won't be in the box.
Yeah, I would think. Yeah, certainly that name's going to pop up in the claim box.
Yeah, well, Linda's, you know, I mean, Linda obviously is, you know, dominating. I think she has like 4 times or more as many wins as the second leading trainer here. But it's because she's incredibly aggressive. It's because she claims so many horses out of town. She's bought a lot of horses here, and I don't begrudge her success. It makes it a little bit tough at times. She's dominating the races so much, but that's not her fault. You know, she's playing the game.
Yeah.
It's not. I wish there were more people playing it like she was, but there aren't. And
I wonder if she has caused trainers to second guess. Do I want to risk this horse?
You know she's out there. I mean, there's no question. You know where they're going to get claimed, and she is aggressive, if nothing else, and it works out well for her. She's obviously extremely successful, and that's an understatement.
There is the confirmed speed of the race. Alias Jose Lezcano will ride for Linda Rice, trainer we had just mentioned, winning at 27% at the meet. Will the 4 put any pressure on this one early, or does Alias get loose? The favorite still odds on outside, back to 3-5 on Gualilo. We send it upstairs for the call. Here's Chris Griffin.
Isoladoro. Gualilo. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Breaking outward there was Gualilo, also just a little awkward, trying to keep up here with the rest of the field. Alias is flashing early speed, is now a neck advantage in front of Into Inspiration towards the inside. Splitting rivals, red cap, here comes Senor Pancho. Up on the far outside, Isoladoro. Gualilo out in the far outside of the racetrack is going to be towards the back end of the field with Admiral Indy. Tightly packed, though, as they approach 4 furlongs left to go, 23.29 for the opening quarter mile. Into Inspiration, the long shot takes it right to Alias. These two head-and-head working into the far turn together. Senor Pancho is encouraged to do more from third. Down at the rail, that's Admiral Indy, who's now in fourth. Gualilo has not had the easiest journey, and the favorite is trying to get rolling now, is going to be wide, as they are now approaching a quarter mile left to go. The trailer, Isoladoro. Still in front, it's Into Inspiration, who goes right after Alias. They've been that way throughout. Gualilo is trying to cut into the margin as they reach the top of the stretch. Into Inspiration and Alias trying to push on by. It's the big long shot in Into Inspiration. Alias now edging clear a little bit, is up by a neck with a furlong left to go. Alias, Into Inspiration. Gualilo is third. It is now Alias just inching clear late. Alias, Linda Rice with another victory on the afternoon. Alias will win it. Into Inspiration second, Admiral Indy up for third, and Gualilo finished fourth in 1 minute 20.51 seconds.
Alias, the win, got pushed the entire way from that 4 Into Inspiration, able to pull away late despite that. Linda Rice, Jose Lezcano.
But the way the track is playing, you know, I think it obviously helped the 5, and it was a good call by you, saying that the number 4 could be aggressive and help them. Obviously, Galileo didn't run very well. That's an understatement. Having said that, I don't think the track helped him, but I don't think he ran at all in here.
Incredibly wide, as you see in this spot. By the way, Jose Gomez was dropped.
He's okay. He's
from
up.
the 6, but yeah, it appears like,
now,
okay, that's good news. He
Yep.
is okay walking under his own power. Another look at this stretch duel. I mean, these two were going at it the entire way around the racetrack, and then finally the 4 Into Inspiration waves the white flag.
And listen, I mean, Alias probably wanted to lose the 4 because he likes to lose. but the 4 wasn't quite up to the task. But it was one of those situations where I would say the track absolutely helped him. But in fairness, I don't think the 7. I think the 7 was dropping for a reason.
And there's Jose Gomez. He is actually waved off even going into the ambulance, so he appears to be A-okay.
That's where he and I are different in many ways. I would have gotten that ambulance just to get the ride back for 100 yards, you know? See? So, you know, even if I was perfectly fine.
5-4-1-7, great news. Jose Gomez is just fine. 9-5 on Alias, able to withstand that pressure and put away the other speed and get the win. We'll preview Iron Honor in the Gotham on Saturday on the road to that first Saturday in May, a big-time debut, and now he's going to try and go further.
As they hit the top of the stretch, Lauban trying to see it out, turning for home in front. Sunny Ridge on the outside to the attack. Shagoff swings wide for the stretch drive too. Adventus is coming down the center of the track as well. 1 furlong left. Lauban down inside, narrow lead. Sunny Ridge fights on. Shagoff keeps on grinding away. So to Adventus on the far outside. 16th to go. Lauban's trying to see it out. 16th left. Here comes Shagoff with a final surge. A final surge to win the Gotham.
Shagoff, Chad Brown. Shadwell, of course, already had Mohayman, who started his career 5 for 5. And this one overcoming a bias on the day to get the victory.
Yeah, well, you're egging me on. I was very encouraging to Chad Brown because we had a huge gold rail that day to make sure he stayed on the rail as long as possible with Shagoff. And Lauban actually almost carried him around. Lauban went on to be pretty terrific sires. You see Rick Nichols and Chad Brown there. They also had Mohayman at the time. I don't think Shagoff ever won again after this race, actually.
Well, Chad Brown has one who could be any kind. We don't know how good this horse is. He was exceptional first time out. This year's edition of the Gotham Iron Honor, 95 Beyer speed figure in the debut at the end of his 2-year-old campaign. What are you expecting for the 3-year-old return?
I'm hopeful that he's going to run another big race. I mean, Chad had been, I had talked to him about it. He brought this horse up to me about a month or more ago and said how he'd been working very well. He was really excited by him and told me at the time he was appointed to Gotham, so I'm optimistic. He ran well. Now, the winner, this horse was second, came back. He ran 5 Beyer points worse. He easily beat Right to Party, but speed was pretty good the day he won. I think he's going to be very tough to beat, but he's going to be 6-5 in there, so I can understand speed want to try to beat him. I'm just not one of them.
Well, let's hear from Chad Brown on stretching out this debut winner in start number 2.
He's certainly bred to do it. He acts like he wants to. He's actually never acted like a fast horse. He ran really well. Actually surprised me he was able to get it done at 6 furlongs. So he's acted like a horse that wanted at least a mile. So I'm excited to see him stretch out. He's had a good month, the last month in particular here at Payson. He's starting to really move well and acts like he wants to run again. I was looking at that New York trail for him, and I did consider after his race just momentarily to leave him up there, and thank God I didn't with the winter they've had up there. So he's done good here in the sunshine and warm weather, and he's returned safely to New York.
So start number 2, and it's a gradual move, not jumping to 1 mile and 1/8, just stretching out now to 1 mile, and 1-turn mile at that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to try to find out what horses you have. Obviously, right now, not a lot of time before the Derby. Optimistically, he passes the test tomorrow, and then they stretch him out. Whether they leave him here for the Wood or go somewhere else remains to be seen. But you want to get to the Derby. And right now, Chad Brown has a lot of horses that have the potential to be a horse in the Derby. Obviously, Paladin, he's established himself as the current favorite. I don't think he's 7-1 to win the Derby, but he's certainly, at worst, one of the main players in the Derby. He's got a player in the Tampa Bay Derby. He's got this horse, emerging market, pointing towards the Louisiana Derby. Probably not a horse who's making his second start there. They're going to be that aggressive to get to the Derby, but you're in this position. There's a lot of big racing left this year, and right now, Chad probably has a stronger hand than he's ever had at this time of the year with 3-year-olds.
This weekend, as we mentioned, all the preps that are happening, a lot is going to be sorted out. Not all of it, but we'll have a little bit of a clearer picture of who these main contenders are for that first Saturday in May after Sunday. And the Rebel in Hot Springs, not to mention what's going on here in New York and down in Florida. Back here in the fifth race, Alias able to hold off into Inspiration with that neck-and-neck battle up front and win going away in career start number 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say that the racetrack probably helped this horse, and you didn't really get any kind of effort from the overbet favorite in Galileo, but he got it done, Alias. We'll see what he does going forward here.
You brought up, too, how many wins Linda Rice has. The rate she's winning at right now, it feels like she has Steve Asmussen types of numbers in terms of how many runners she's sending. She's on pace to break her single-season record for wins.
For sure. I mean, obviously, the going's going to get tougher as we go forward a little bit. She had a very good Saratoga, and she's set up to be, at very least a player when more people get back here, and you never really want to count her out. But you're right. I mean, right now she's averaging 20 wins a month. And also, keep in mind, it's not 20 wins a month because I know we made up a few days here, but we've also lost at least 5 days of racing. So in reality, she's winning at a better clip than that.
Race 6, 6.5 furlongs. It's a $30,000 claiming race. And right now, Big Hat Willie favored. You have Flavian Pratt aboard, big drop in class, and clearly the horse who's shown the most talent probably gets better company, but the last 2 starts have to really make you scratch your head.
It's a little bit of a weird test, right? Because Big Hat Willie, he should be forward. The 3 has speed, but he has some speed too in here. He was way against the track, especially last time he stumbled to start, so you can make excuses for him, but how much of an excuse do you want to make for him?
We're going to take a timeout. We'll have the post parade for the 6th when we return. We'll get you back to Hot Springs right after this. Approaching the 6-minute mark to post in race 5. Stay with us.
now being 6,600,000 not a being 600,000 not a bid today, 1,600,000 not a bid now bid now 650, being 650, being 650,000 not anybody else won. 650,000 not a bid today, 1,650,000 not a half. 1,600,000 not a thank you.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
New York breds. Race them.
Respect them.
Bet them.
Respect them.
Breed them.
Respect them.
650, 75. Nobody,
Buy them.
Respect them.
70, 75. Now 700.
Train them for a second career.
Respect them.
Join us in respecting thoroughbreds at every stage of life. Learn more at nybreds.com.
Back with you on our Fox Sports 2 coverage. You're watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, making the sport easier to follow. Explore stories, betting tips, and race day insights at americasbestracing.net. And here's what's new at ABR 2026 Gotham Stakes preview. Historical trends to help bet Sunday's Rebel Stakes from Oaklawn and stars of yesterday, looking back at the best Rebel Stakes winners from the past.
I'm thinking American Pharoah probably makes the cut along with Smarty Jones. It's a guess.
Why would he do after that?
Very little, but to be fair, they're very popular with people, so I think they might make the cut.
Added an Arkansas Derby and a Triple Crown, ending that 37-year drought. Yeah, I would think he's pretty high on the list. Looking forward to what's going to be an incredibly fun weekend with these Derby preps all across the country. And we'll see who steps up.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great time to learn more about these horses. And, you know, hopefully some sort of under-the-radar horses pop up a little bit, and we'll see how good the top horses are. I mean, I think that Bob Baffert's going to be very tough to beat in the Rebel, and I know he's the 7-2 choice. He's going to be favored or sort of co-favored in there. That horse looks like the controlling speed in there, especially with Bravaro staying down in Florida.
Yeah, litmus test now inherits the rail. Gets Pratt, 3-year-old debut coming up off a grade 2 win at a mile and a 16th at Los Alamitos. Looks like really moved forward from a couple of starts prior when he faced Blackout Time.
I agree. Now listen, Blackout Time ran very well, but you're talking about a horse that was scratched out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, and he didn't have his first recorded work until January 23rd. So he's kind of, you get the feeling, and that he might need a race to be in his best race, and we'll see. But he did run well in that Keeneland race, to be fair.
Sure, it is the talk of Hot Springs as we send it back out to Meg and Mig.
Yeah, guys, and we've got race 5 on the racetrack. I think the Rebel is going to be a tremendous race. I'm really looking forward to it. And, we want to see how these 2-year-olds that were accomplished, like Blackout Time, running second behind Ted Naffy, how they make that step from 2 to 3.
Absolutely. We're going to get a lot of, you always say this, we have the questions, the horses have the answers.
They do. Well, right, we have a lot of questions, a lot of opinions, but how about race 5 here? We've got 12-5 claimers going 6 furlongs, fillies and mares. Where did you lean?
I liked the number 9, High Summer, coming into this race off of 3 starts. Excuse me, this is his third start, her third start, I should say, off of the bench, dropping in class. And to me, this is a very tepid group, of which I think that she can handle herself. This horse ran well down in Indiana, and I just like the way she's been. I will say, she obviously is coming off a quick turnaround from that February the 13th effort with Amir Mendoza aboard, but hoping she can be a bit better tactically from that outside post as she tries to get her first win here at Oaklawn Park from 3 tries.
Well, definitely the drop in class has to aid in that. And the 4 Balladry is another one that kind of fits that profile. That's where I'm going to land. I think she's going to be forward, drops to that 12-5 level. Thought she made some sense. The 1 and the 1A, the entry here, Collected Glory and Rio Bella, favored. Now, they're contenders, but do you feel like maybe it's a little bit of that 2 for the price of 1 thing?
I'm not interested in betting this one as far as a coupled entry here, particularly with the 1A. That's really the horse that's taking the money here. Coming off a pretty precipitous layoff there, not being seen since March the 25th. This horse hasn't particularly run all that outstanding off of the bench. Has some turf tries sprinkled in that I guess you could say muddied up her form, but she's a winner. Excuse me, she's never won on turf, even though they kept trying her there. So I think she's a very volatile favorite. I'm not accepting 9 to 5 on either of these horses, knowing that the previous form there for Kim Puel does fit off the drop, or excuse me, it's not really a complete drop in class, getting back to sprinting off of the bench. I just think this is clearly a spot where I wanted to go against these two.
And you can see it, we're watching horses on the monitor, and, some of them are sweating up pretty good. It's a very warm day. It's got to be nearly, if not 80 degrees. You want to see horses get a sweat on. It means their natural coolant system is working properly. It's worse if you see no sweat on at all when a horse on a warm day. If a horse is dry, I always take that as a negative, but we've got a really good edition of the Rebel coming Sunday. We really, to me, I'm excited to see if Silent Tactic can put it back, back to back, those efforts. It feels like he's a horse that's going forward at the right time.
He's just progressive, and that's exactly what you want to see this time of year. As he initially started on the synthetic, it's back and just really making statements race after race on the dirt, and he's also training incredibly well. I caught up with Christian Torres, who was aboard him for his final drill. He never works that quick, and boy, did he work very sharp. But I think I'm also pretty intrigued to see how the number 3 class president runs for Todd Pletcher, who I'm barreling towards as my selection. As obviously time goes on, we shall see, getting to see these horses in person more and more, but I'm excited about that horse.
And he's got a pedigree. He ran so well going 7 furlongs. He's got a pedigree that feels like he'll stretch out effectively. I like that John Velasquez is coming in. And so we got a full field. There will be the one scratch of the one. Bravaro, the New York bred, who ran very well in the Holy Bull, just second best that day to Nearly, who I think is probably pretty high on a lot of people's Kentucky Derby list.
Should be number 1 at this point, if they're with Paladin and Renegade, kind of the top 3 of what we've seen so far in the crop. I agree with Andy. Litmus test, that California speed will draw the rail with the scratch of Bravaro. I think that he's never wired a field. I will say, Meg, as far as the pace, there's no outright controllers, you could say, on paper. And obviously the number 10 Soldier and Diplomat will be forwardly placed, but it's pretty interesting to see as we take a look at Litmus test, if he's, like I mentioned, going to wire this field. Could be to use, honestly, I think it could be to his strength to try to be aggressive there.
Absolutely. Here we're watching him win the Los Alamitos Futurity. Very long stretch there. They kind of, have 2 different courses, one for quarter horses, one for thoroughbreds. And this was coming off a good effort in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, where he was only beating a length and 3/4 to Ted Knoppe. You got to think he's going to be sharp off the bench, too, with Bob Baffert and Flavian Pratt getting them out.
Bob Baffert doesn't ration his speed, so don't find he's going to do so here.
He's not concerned with his horses coming up short because he puts a lot of foundation into them. Well, we're getting right up on top of post time for race 5. We're going 6 furlongs. Matt Dinneman, he'll have your call.
Make Me Believe and Collected Glory. Collected Glory, the gray going in. Make Me Believe coming up. Singing Emma, post position number 8. Balladry coming forward. Balladry coming up. One of the horses a little stirred up in there. Looked like it was Rio Bella in post 1A. 2 back behind the gate. Giorgiani's Mind. Into the outside post High Summer to round out the field. They've settled down Rio Bella. Rider back in the saddle. High Summer outside post. Goes in. We're ready to go. And we're off. Another good start for Blue and his crew. After the start, Red Hot Genie had to take up and drops to the back of the pack after that. From post 4, Balladry strides in front. Collected Glory's going to take back here. Singing Emma on the engine early. It's Balladry, narrow lead. Singing Emma, they're on the outside to apply some pressure here. Hulu, the long shot, moving forward on the inside to be level second down the back stretch. Smart with Heart is right behind her. Collected Glory next. Giorgiani's Mind is deep going into the turn. There's a gap of 2 to High Summer in midfield. In the meantime, Collected Glory had to steady when weakening. Red Hot Genie in the meantime trying to make a move from the back of the field. She's 4 lengths behind on the rail, rounding the far turn run. 3 lengths ahead of Rio Bella, who's dropping back with Make Me Believe. Coming to the top of the stretch. Balladry on the lead here. Singing Emma right there. Giorgiani's Mind at a price 3 wide, and the swing off the turn. Smart with Heart cuts the corner. Balladry, reins get shaken in her. She's still on top here. Leads a half length. Singing Emma not going away on the outside. Balladry now asks for her best. Accelerates, opens up to a length and a half lead on Singing Emma, who's chasing hard, but she can't get to Balladry, who's got it. Balladry, Manny Escabel for the Sippy Contreras barn. Singing Emma was second, Collected Glory third, and Smart with Heart was fourth.
Well, it was the drop down in class Balladry who just got so comfortable on the lead. A very tepid pace here, 23:47-1. You don't usually see slowish paces like that here at Oaklawn Park, but Balladry, this 5-year-old daughter of Tappert, she looked so comfortable and happy setting those fractions.
She did. And the thing about this race was there was not a lot of pace on paper. The 8 Singing Emma, who ultimately settled for second, was not near as aggressive as perhaps maybe she should have been as a horse that also had speed and ultimately gets beat by the number 4, Balladry here, who was able to just control things on the front end, read the race right, and it paid off in the end.
Yeah, Manny Escabel contributing a really nice ride for Cipriano Contreras, his uncle, as a matter of fact. So all in the family there, and pace, as usual, makes the race. Balladry gets it done. We'll be back with some more action right after this quick timeout.
Back in our Fox Sports 2 coverage. Been watching America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Hillendale at Alapa. Great overview of Oaklawn Park with Grade 3 Razorback. Magnitude, incredibly exciting. Having his 4-year-old debut coming up on Saturday, and then a Rebel on the road to the Kentucky Derby on Sunday. Back here in New York, race 6, 6.5 furlongs, minute to post in this $30,000 claiming race. 3-2 favorite, one we had touched on earlier, now 8-5. This horse, Big Hat Willie.
Even if you make significant excuses for his last, and I do think his exaggerated bad performance was very much by chasing wide against a gold rail against better, he's still a little tough to take 3-2 on. He should be in a good stalking spot. Outside of the 3, Clancy Fancy, I absolutely think he's a major player here. That's a tough price place. I like Clancy Fancy, who I think is going to be in front. He's coming out of races where I've had a lot of speed, extreme speed horse in those races. It's not like it today. He drops down. First time in a claiming race, I think he's found the appropriate spot, and I think he's a very generous price at 9-2. We'll see if he drops down from there. I like Clancy Fancy over the 6, Big Hat Willie.
Yeah, he's the 3, Clancy Fancy, and does look like he's the speed of the field. You saw those prices from Oaklawn, Balladry with the win for Cipriano Contreras and Manny Esquivel. As you get a look at that speedster Andy was just touching on. So Eric Cancel will be aboard, the one who is expected to lead the way in this 6th race.
Yeah. And listen,
the price has gone up.
When Eric has done well, it's because he's been aggressive instead of taking them all back, sitting out in the 6th bath and making these big dramatic closes. He needs to be aggressive, and I imagine that Chris Englehart and his connections will tell Eric, we're the speed here, we got to go. And I like Eric when he's aggressive. I don't love it when he's not aggressive.
He's got to be aggressive, you would think, in this scenario. Tomorrow, we are on Fox Business Channel, 3:30 to 7 Eastern, with, as mentioned, that Derby prep, the Gotham from New York, and the Grade 3 Razorback from Oaklawn Park with Magnitude, and maybe a new face in the older horse division. New what's new. It looks like he could be any kind.
He is what's new. And he's going to get an acid test tomorrow. And, of course, Steve used this race, Asmussen, with Gunrunner as a prep for a very good second-place finish to Arrogate, though Arrogate's performance was otherworldly that day after being eliminated at the start. But Steve has done this before, so it'll be interesting to see. And I guess, you know, Magnitude's performance may tell Steve. He runs very well. You want to take a shot for the big money in Dubai. He doesn't run as well, then maybe they'll sit around and point to the big pursed Oaklawn handicap.
Race 6 here in New York. The 3 Clancy Fancy, Andy's selection will look to lead the way. Favorite, though, Big Hat Willie. There he is with Flavien Prat. Big drop in class, trying to get back in form against easier. Chris Griffin, the call.
Scoot Daddy goes in, all set. And they're off. Clancy Fancy under the shove right from the start and goes right to the front. Does not a head advantage. Here comes Big Hat Willie to join that leader and stalk from second. Clancy Fancy, Eric Cancel with that neck advantage. Big Hat Willie is sitting right next to this rival. Dolly's Bank is in third. It's to the outside of Riyadh Mood, who's at the rail in fourth. Progressing center of the racetrack is Scoot Daddy in fifth. They're followed blue cap by Remy's Moon. The trailer, late running Jackson Heights, a two-way battle for the front. It's Big Hat Willie to the outside of Clancy Fancy. They work into the turn together. Scoot Daddy is on the move from third, and here comes Scoot Daddy, is now engaged and chasing Big Hat Willie, who's trying to put away Clancy Fancy. It is Big Hat Willie, Scoot Daddy right to the outside. Dolly's Bank starts to build some momentum there with Remy's Moon. Dropping out of it quickly was Clancy Fancy, 47 seconds flat for a half-mile time, and they're set to reach the top of the stretch, and they're well off the rail. It's Big Hat Willie, who's got plenty so far. Big Hat Willie gets the cue from Flavien Prat to put this race away. Scoot Daddy continues to give game chase. Jackson Heights is launching from far out of it with Remy's Moon. Big Hat Willie is approaching the final 16th. Scoot Daddy can't make up the ground. Jackson Heights is trying to challenge for a minor placing, but it's a Big Hat Willie to win it. Jackson Heights up for second, then came Scoot Daddy and Remy's Moon in 1 minute 19.53 seconds.
Drop in class, and Big Hat Willie back to getting his picture taken. 9th win of his career. First win on the day for Flavien Prat.
And listen, you know, when Clancy Fancy just clearly can't run at all anymore, and Eric did absolutely everything right with him. He just couldn't run. This horse basically was controlling the race. Scoot Daddy made a nice little run, just wasn't able to be effective, and it was Jackson Heights who, you know, when you're a deep closer, you're always a little bit compromised, but he's been against the track one race after another, and Jackson Heights ran well to be second. But this horse was much the best.
And sorry, shortchanged him. He was on the Lone Speed Nilos Rose earlier. Second win of the day for Pratt. Gets the win here with Big Hat Willie. Goes off 6-5 favorite for the aforementioned Fernando Abreu. We're going to take a timeout. Prices when we come back. We'll look ahead to that Grade 3 Razorback from Oaklawn on Saturday when we come back. What's new is the new shooter in the older horse division. Can he hold up to Magnitude?
Here comes that big gray Tappet Trice right down the outside.
Tappet Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
Tappet Trice's 2024 debut was awesome.
Tappet Trice is lunging. Tappet Trice wins the Woodward.
This weekend on America's Day at the Races. Saturday, catch Aqueduct's Gotham, a Kentucky Derby prep, plus Lafitte Pinkai and Maggie Wolfendale live from Oaklawn Park for the Razorback Handicap.
And they're off in the Razorback.
Then Sunday, special coverage of Oaklawn's Rebel, a key Derby prep, and the Honeybee is a prep for the Kentucky Oaks. Saturday's coverage begins on Fox Business Channel, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern on FS2.
Prince of Monaco's too good for Moose, an impressive winner of the Best Pal. Miramondi's all hot, but Prince of Monaco too good.
Prince of Monaco, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
They come to the final furlong. Gunrunner leads. He is 4 lengths in front. Domain's Rap is trying to engage Hawakam for second, but that's all they could possibly get as Gunrunner now levels out and runs away. Stakes record is 140-2. Largest margin 6 3/4. He might have them both. We'll see. Gunrunner won by about 6.5.
And Gunrunner in a tour de force in the Razorback 2017 Razorback. And his coming out party was really the Clark at the end of his 3-year-old campaign. And his form, Magnitude's form, is looking eerily like his form coming into this Razorback.
It really is. He did the exact kind of same path, right? He was third in the Travers. He was plagued by a horse that I think we might know of by the name of Arrogate, similar to kind of what Magnitude has been facing against Sovereignty as we take a look at the absolute just force that Gunrunner was, capturing the Razorback en route to a second-place effort in one of the most memorable Dubai World Cups there with Arrogate rolling on to, of course, his eventual Hall of Fame status. Magnitude's got a lot of work to do to catch up to him, but it seems as though Steve is taking a very similar path.
Well, we got a real nice field here. Obviously, Magnitude, that name has some star power. He chased the likes of Sovereignty and Baeza, but then got it done beating all the horses in the Clark. And he's run fast. I mean, his risen star early in his 3-year-old year before he was injured was a tour de force. So you know he has those kind of efforts in him.
Son, if not this time. It's kind of interesting when you go into his pedigree. His second dam was a 2-time Grade 1 winner, Octave. It's absolutely gorgeous, beautifully bred. I'm excited to see him, especially considering just how he's really fared in the morning. He looks ready to go, but you know, he did spike a temperature before they planned on shipping him to the Saudi Cup, where that was initially the plan to start him out with, and then of course kind of make the Middle East trip, you could say, then parlaying that into the Dubai World Cup. But things have changed. Hope hoping to see him come back nice. But man, Mick, you know, he is kind of developed a bit more out of the one-dimensional speed horse we initially kind of thought he was.
Yeah, that's what I liked about his clock. The fact that he was able to just kind of sit just off it, pounce, get it done with a new rider there, Irad Ortiz, who will ride him back in the Razorback. I mean, he get big, long stride on him, just kind of a relentless going horse. And I think he's going to set up shop just outside of What's New, who is kind of the new shooter, right? Stepping up in the stakes company, but no doubt Magnitude's already faced the best of his generation. Saw him jump back to his left lead there. It's going to be interesting. I like the way he's been training. You can see very steady work tab after, you know, having that little bit of a fever under the tutelage of Scott Blasi, one of Keith Asmussen's main assistants. And you were saying you liked what you saw from him when he paddock schooled.
I did, but at the same breath, he has to face a very competitive new horse and What's New, who I will say it's tough sometimes to gauge these kind of horses who have just gotten so much better, as he has back-to-back triple-digit buyers here at Oaklawn Park, where he's demolished fields that are incredibly inferior to what he will face in the Razorback last time out, getting a 12-length romp, which it's kind of interesting to me, Meg. It's incredible how different of an animal he is than when we saw him last year, kind of churning away trying to break his maiden against some okay horses, but he's completely different nowadays.
Well, maybe all along he just wanted to go further on the dirt. His two-turn dirt tries have been outstanding performances, resulting in triple-digit buyer figures. We got a great weekend of racing all over the country, obviously up in New York, but here at Oaklawn Park, the $500,000 Razorback handicap on Saturday, and then obviously the $1 million Rebel, $750,000 Honeybee, with ramifications for not only the Kentucky Derby, but the Kentucky Oaks. Guys, it's going to be a lot of fun to cover all this racing, and who's going to take that next step forward.
One of the most exciting sort of, you know, he's raced 7 times, but still new faces in the game, What's New.
I got to tell you, I think I'm most excited looking for the Razorback, because I am a big Magnitude fan. But What's New, and Richie hit on it as well, and you had just said the same thing to me. We were talking off the air that he had first time going long with him. He's a 4-year-old. I mean, he's just sort of getting started. It is a big class test, and we've all been around a long time, and we've seen these horses, and then Magnitude looks them in the eye, and suddenly they're not as tough as they were when the going wasn't as tough. But I don't know. He's an intriguing horse going forward, and you want to see good horses. You want to see, because obviously Sovereignty is a big mountain, but journalism's out there. Baeza, they can get better. The potential exists for there to be more than just Sovereignty pushing a lot of horses around this year. It could be a very good year for the older horses.
Good to have, some new faces that potentially could provide Sovereignty with a challenge. That is coming up tomorrow in our coverage. Grade 3 Razorback back here in New York. Big Hat Willie, 2-win day. Flavia Pratt winning for Fernando Abreu here. Patter Pop Racing. And this 6-year-old, it's the 9th win of his career. $4.60.
Yeah, and isn't this another good example, too, of the bias that this horse was facing last time, and how bad a bias can make a horse look when he was wide against the rail, and now he's probably with the racetrack today, to be fair, but his last race, a disaster. He wasn't off form for Fernando. He was simply compromised by a racetrack that really made him look bad.
Saratoga right around the corner. We have more Saratoga this year than we're probably ever going to have in the history of that race course. 51 days, including Belmont Week at Saratoga. Tickets on sale now for that Belmont Week. And as you were just talking about, some of these older horses that potentially could, if you look at a date, you might want to go. Everyone picks out Travers Day.
I love Whitney Day.
Maybe you want to start thinking Whitney Day.
I agree. And, you know, that, of course, in journalism has been pointed to the Met Mile, which is Belmont Stakes weekend. But I agree. I love the Whitney. The Whitney, to me, it was always my favorite race. The first time I was there live for it was 1975. I saw the California-bred Ancient Title win it, and I remember Sandy Hawley. Because of that, he's one of my favorite horses, and I know there's people that think I have an East Coast bias. I don't. I love California racing, and part of the reason, I think, was the start, seeing a Calbred like Ancient Title, and then, you know, a year later, I made my first trip to Belmont Park, and my first trip to Belmont was Wajima being Forgo, but Ancient Title was 3rd in that Marlboro Cup, and I've always loved that horse.
Right around the corner. Get those tickets. Be part of the final Belmont Stakes that's going to happen at Saratoga Racecourse this summer in early June. We will see you tomorrow, Fox Business Channel, 3:30 Eastern start time. And in the Gotham, Iron Honor. Can he handle the stretch out for Chad Brown? Start number 2 coming up. Magnitude in the Razorback as he gets set to kick off his 4-year-old campaign. We'll know what's new, keep things rolling, and provide a challenge. He's a serious contender in this older horse division. We'll see you tomorrow on Fox Business Channel.